Welcome to the 5-Minute Warfare podcast from 5minutewarfare.com, where we dive into history's most pivotal battles and military strategies in around 5 minutes. Episode 7, The 30 Years' War, Europe's Religious Battleground. The 30 Years' War, which ravaged Europe from 1618 to 1648, was one of the longest and most destructive conflicts in European history. It began as a religious dispute within the Holy Roman Empire, but soon escalated into a broader struggle for political dominance involving most of the major European powers. Over the course of 3 decades, the war would devastate large parts of Central Europe, causing immense human suffering and reshaping the continent's political landscape. The origins of the 30 Years' War lie in the complex religious and political divisions of the Holy Roman Empire. The Protestant Reformation, initiated by Martin Luther in 1517, had fractured the unity of Western Christianity, leading to the establishment of various Protestant denominations in opposition to the Roman Catholic Church. By the early 17th century, the Holy Roman Empire, a vast collection of semi-autonomous states and territories, was deeply divided along religious lines. While many northern states had adopted Protestantism, the Habsburg emperors, who ruled over the empire, remained staunchly Catholic and sought to restore Catholic dominance. The immediate catalyst for the war was an event known as the Defenestration of Prague in 1618. The Protestant nobles of Bohemia, fearing that their religious rights were under threat from the Catholic Habsburgs, threw 2 imperial representatives out of a window in the royal castle of Prague. This dramatic act of defiance set off a chain of events that would plunge Europe into war. The Bohemian rebellion quickly escalated into a full-scale conflict, as the Protestant nobility sought to depose the Catholic king Ferdinand II, who had recently been elected Holy Roman Emperor. The war initially seemed like a straightforward struggle between Catholics and Protestants. The Bohemians, supported by Protestant states such as Saxony and the Palatinate, fought against the forces of the Catholic League, a coalition of Catholic states led by Bavaria and backed by the emperor. However, as the conflict progressed, it became clear that religious divisions alone could not explain the war's complexity. Political ambitions, dynastic rivalries, and the quest for territorial expansion played a significant role in shaping the course of the war. One of the most important phases of the 30 Years' War was the intervention of Denmark and Sweden, 2 Protestant powers that sought to defend Protestantism in Germany and weaken the influence of the Catholic Habsburgs. In 1625, King Christian IV of Denmark, fearing Habsburg encroachment on his territories, entered the war on the Protestant side. However, his campaign ended in failure when the forces of the Catholic League, under the command of the brilliant general Albrecht von Wallenstein, decisively defeated the Danish army. The Swedish phase of the war, beginning in 1630, marked a turning point. Under the leadership of King Gustavus Adolphus, Sweden emerged as a powerful force in the conflict. Gustavus Adolphus, a devout Lutheran, portrayed his intervention as a struggle to protect Protestantism, but he was also motivated by a desire to extend Swedish influence in the Baltic region. The Swedish army, highly disciplined and innovative in its use of artillery, achieved several notable victories, including the Battle of Breitenfeld in 1631, which was a major blow to the Catholic forces. Gustavus Adolphus became a legendary figure in Protestant Europe, earning the nickname the Lion of the North. However, the tide of war shifted again with Gustavus Adolphus's death at the Battle of Lutzen in 1632. Although the Swedes continued to fight, their leadership was no longer as decisive, and the conflict became increasingly chaotic and destructive. By this point, the war had evolved far beyond its original religious dimensions. Catholic France, ruled by the Bourbon dynasty, entered the war in 1635, not to support the Catholic cause, but to challenge the power of the Habsburgs, who ruled both the Holy Roman Empire and Spain. France's entry into the war ensured that the conflict would drag on for many more years, as both sides sought to exhaust one another through attrition. The war's impact on the civilian population was catastrophic. Much of the fighting took place in the German-speaking lands of the Holy Roman Empire, which were devastated by repeated campaigns, sieges, and plundering. Entire towns and villages were destroyed, and famine and disease, particularly the plague, spread rapidly in the wake of the armies. Estimates of the death toll vary, but it is believed that between 4 and 8 million people perished during the 30 Years' War, making it one of the deadliest conflicts in European history. The destruction of agriculture and infrastructure led to widespread poverty and hardship for the survivors, and the social fabric of many regions was irreparably damaged. By the late 1640s, all sides were exhausted, and peace negotiations began in earnest. The war finally came to an end with the signing of the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, a series of treaties that brought a fragile but lasting peace to Europe. The Peace of Westphalia had far-reaching consequences for the political and religious order of Europe. It marked the formal recognition of the principle of cuius regio, ius religio, which allowed the rulers of each state within the Holy Roman Empire to determine the religion of their subjects, whether Protestant or Catholic. This provision helped to stabilize the religious map of Europe, although tensions between Catholics and Protestants would continue for many years. Politically, the Peace of Westphalia marked the decline of the Holy Roman Empire as a major power in Europe. The empire's constituent states gained greater autonomy, weakening the authority of the emperor and paving the way for the rise of powerful nation-states such as France and Sweden. France emerged as the dominant power in Europe, while the Habsburgs, although weakened, retained control of Austria and Spain. The treaties also recognized the independence of the Dutch Republic, ending the long struggle for Dutch independence from Spanish rule. The 30 Years' War had a profound and lasting impact on European history. It was a conflict that began as a religious war but evolved into a broader struggle for political dominance. The war's devastation reshaped the political and social order of Central Europe, leading to a shift in the balance of power that would influence European diplomacy for centuries. The war also demonstrated the destructive potential of religious and political conflicts, serving as a grim reminder of the human cost of war. While the Peace of Westphalia brought an end to the fighting, the legacy of the 30 Years' War continued to reverberate throughout European history. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the 5-Minute Warfare podcast from 5minutewarfare.com. If you get a chance, please leave a review wherever you get your podcasts, as it will help us to grow. Also, why not check out our other 5-minute podcasts, 5-Minute Biographies, 5-Minute History, 5-Minute Murder, and 5-Minute Mysteries. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.